Good evening. I'm Dinesh Vohra. Today again we are here to present the second part of our webinar on the time management. So I do welcome all the people, all the students who are right now here. Many names I can see right now and some more will be joining shortly. Those who could not join yesterday, let me give a brief introduction of me again in case if some people have missed the show yesterday. I'm Dinesh Vohra and I'm an MBA from Nursi Moji Institute of Management Studies. I'm author of 18 books and apart from that I'm a newspaper columnist. I do write on the editorial pages of many newspapers in India, in Hindi as well as in English. And being a motivational speaker and a speaker in various management institutes also on domain issues. It's always a pleasure talking to the people, talking to youngsters like you. Yesterday we spoke on time management in great detail. And today again we'll be presenting the part 2 of this one. Yesterday we had covered some of the salient features which were regarding the Pareto principle, the benefits, why time management is required, how time management can be implemented, and small tools which are basically available which can be utilized to have a optimum productivity levels, or you can say how to become more effective. It's absolutely essential that if we apply ourselves in an efficient manner, in a productive manner, then our success rate is likely to go up. As I talked yesterday also, not many people can be called as successful people in this world, hardly 1% or maybe less than that. 99% of the people are average people or below average people. It is not that they are not destined to become successful. It is just that enough efforts are not being put up by them which can take them into the directions of their dreams. And if people are not heading for the right direction, if people are not going for the right destination, if people are not putting the right kind of efforts in that direction which they had chosen or which should be in a dream direction, then it really becomes difficult to achieve your objective in the life. That's one reason a very large number of people you will find they are frustrated or disappointed or deeply disappointed. And then they start blaming their destiny that we are not destined to become successful and only struggle is there on our part. Now this thing I can also say from another experience which I have in my life. Yesterday I had not actually disclosed to you that I am also a leading astrologer and Vastu expert of the country, and I am listed on the Times of India list and some other newspapers also as a celebrity astrologer and Vastu expert and Bhumi Dosh expert. So the destiny word which has come here, which I have used right now, is fundamentally used by the people who just could not succeed with their so-called efforts. The question arises whether destiny really plays the role. I say yes, it may be 50%, but the 50% it's your karma. 50% it's your goals and objectives. These 50% are extremely important part through which you can change your destiny, what we call as a birth destiny. So your karma destiny is far more important than your birth destiny, because you may be born with some kind of Raja Yoga, but if your karma yoga is poor, then you may not head for any you can say notable destination in your life, and you may suffer lot many things actually. Link has also been given to you right now here, and I think you all people are getting it. Those who are joining late, once again good evening to all my friends here. So today we are going to speak on the issues which are slightly more advanced in the nature of time management. Yesterday we talked on various issues, but today's issues will be on delegation and manager meetings and benefit of you can say time management or reduction in the stress, and then there will be an important section of time management concepts and applications that's based on the Peter Drucker and the Stephen Covey, the management gurus. Now, what we did, what is the basically you can say objective of time management? Why it is one of the most talked about subject in the world. Now, when I say most talked about subject, but least implemented, least applied. People speak that time should be utilized in a positive and productive manner, but somehow through our experience, we have seen or observed that people speak but don't follow. They don't apply. It means the effective time management primarily remains on paper. Due to that one, your own kind of planning and prioritization also remains on paper, though they are very important part. And then when people fail to put in any kind of time logs, any kind of calendar, any kind of planner, any kind of a written material through which they can have a kind of daily listing of their acts, then people also fail to identify the time wasters. Yesterday we talked about all these things. Pareto principle 80-20, we talked that 20% of your efforts can get you 80% of the results. When people get these kind of outcomes of 80% from 20% of the efforts, they feel, where is the need to put in the 100%? Why we should put in 100%? When 20% is enough, 80% we are getting it, that's more than enough. And this contentness of the people is basically, is not a boon, it's a bane. It's a curse. Why people stumble upon, why people fail to apply themselves, why people don't realize that putting up the 100% efforts are going to get them 100% outcomes or dividends. And they are far more attractive, far more beautiful, far more handsome. And I believe once people start realizing, the ratio of successful people or winners in society will also go up. It is not that in India it's like that. In US, Europe, Australia and other developed nations also, the success percentage may not be more than 2 to 3%. However, it is much more than what is there in developing nations. Maybe the infrastructure, maybe the social structure, maybe the lot many other things which actually count for that one. But somewhere down the line, we feel that the developed nations have got many more winners, and their affluence, their prosperity, their per capita income states all. With that one also we had discussed on the urgent versus important. It was a matrix which was given by management guru Stephen Covey. And Stephen Covey has in category has stated that what is important and what is urgent. Through this matrix, he tried to explain the things in a way that why things become urgent. You start with a paradigm of something which is unimportant, and you feel that still there is a time and we can handle it, and then you postpone it, or what is called procrastination. It's a disease. And then you postpone, say, another by 2 days or 3 days or 4 days or a week, something like, and by that time this unimportant thing becomes important. And that time you start realizing it has to be done. And again, if it has not been attempted, then within few days time or whatever is the stipulated time, it becomes urgent. And this urgency then brings mental stress for the people. Then they run helter-skelter, they try to contact people to get the data or the statistics or whatever is required. And at the last moment, invariably, it happens that they fail to get the requisite data. Now, this is the real reason for the stress. Why do we allow something which was unimportant to be lingered and reach a state of being important. And then again we allow it to be lingered to reach a state of urgency. Now something now which is important and something which is very urgent must be attempted now, at this moment, because this cannot be postponed. It has got a deadline. We are not allowed to go beyond that. But think, if people start respecting the time, the state of importance and urgency won't appear. Things will get settled very easily. Ideally speaking, the state 2, which is also called important but not urgent. Important but not urgent. At that stage, what we do plan, we do prioritize, we do make preparations, and we can do lot many things. We can make discussions also, deliberations also, we can speak to the people, and we can reach a basically which we call a formidable plan. The plan which has gone through a scrutiny, through a system, through a structure. The plan which is foolproof. Even if it fails, you are having a backup plan for that. And it has happened only because it was important but not urgent. So you had the time in your hand to discuss and deliberate on those issues. I hope you are getting it. And then something which is a third state is there, which is unimportant but urgent. That can be, you can say, urgent meetings. The boss has called you urgently. Some urgent statistics which are not important but still called. Or urgent statements. Now here things are not important but they become urgent and you have to do it. But if you don't do it or it gets delayed, still there is not much harm or not many losses for you or company. But they have to be done. But this is the third stage basically of the unimportant but urgent. But what I dread and the most people dread is the fourth state in this matrix, which is unimportant and not urgent. What's that? It's real time waster. Yes, the real time waster. I mean, you have got enough time now. You don't have anything important at your hand. And there is no urgency of anything. And then you sit down and you chit chat, you entertain, you go to social media, you spend your ample time there. Or maybe you're playing some computer games or something else. Have you ever realized how much time do we waste on everyday basis? Yesterday I spoke on this one that almost 2 hours a day we do waste on everyday basis. That's the minimum I'm talking. And some people do basically waste their full days, full night. And they don't realize what they're doing to themselves. So such kind of state, which is basically the fourth quadrant of the Covey matrix, Stephen Covey matrix, that is unimportant and urgent, is definitely a huge waster. One should feel, one should realize that this fourth quadrant habits is not going to take you far and you are bound to suffer. Better to get rid of these kind of habits because they won't yield any kind of dividends or outcomes. The results will be zero. Absolutely zero. Moreover, does it add any value to you? The answer is no. How many times you have realized that the chit chat on the social media has provided the value to you? Nothing. It doesn't provide. There is no value in that one. Value will come only when something is applied, something has been applied productively and effectively. Only then the returns will be there. But here in the fourth quadrant, these returns will not be there. Absolutely. Then there is another important thing which slightly we touched yesterday, but not much on that basis, which was that people who are busy and the people who are productive. Very important, you can say, a difference between the two. People show that they are very busy. The question is, are they productive also? Busy does not mean that your dividends are there, results are there, outcomes are there. Some people, just to show off, say that I am busy. But busy for what? If your busyness is not getting resulted into a performance, into an efficient system or effectiveness or some kind of productivity or increased turnover, that's fine. But if this busyness is not getting resulted into any kind of productivity, then this busyness is a farce. You're cheating yourself. It is something that these people may say that we have numerous, you can say, priorities. 8, 10, 12, God knows how many. But the people who are productive, they have got very limited priorities. They know as a human being how much you can handle effectively and efficiently. Can you handle 10 tasks at one time? No. No one. Not possible. If you got 2 or 3 tasks at the hand, then you can prioritize them, that this is the most important, this is less important, and this is least important. And then accordingly you can categorize them, you can make the segments, and then priority time can be given to the most important, then slightly to the lesser important, then the least important. Or maybe the least important can be sidetracked also, and maybe that may not be attempted or should be deleted from your list of daily tasks or weekly tasks if it is not mandated or required. Then the people who are basically very busy, so-called busy, they actually respond very fast and they say yes to everything. But saying yes basically increases your problem. The people who are worthy, who are productive, they'll think twice before they say yes. It means they know how to say no. Yesterday I said the no can be spoken in many ways. So in a way I can say the saying no is an art, and here a polite refusal that I will not be doing so and so many tasks at one time, just because you know your capacity, it is going to hamper your effectiveness. Some people are here, I think some students who are writing, we are always saying the time management is possible and effective when there is a certainty of fact, but when we are continuously uncertain, like the trade unions issues effective work, how will we have to manage them? This is Muhammad Usman. Muhammad, your point is valid. We have to understand one thing. In this world, don't expect the ideal conditions. Ideal condition never exist. We want a peaceful atmosphere. We want no challenges in a way. It won't happen. There will be market conditions. There will be international boundaries. There will be pressure. There will be regulations. Like, I'll give you an example now. You talked about trade unions. So, like, you want to have a trade with the international, you can say, countries, a lot of countries. And they have got their own set of regulations which are governed by the World Trade Organization, which is called WTO. And they have got their own regulations, but then many countries have rights to protect their own interest. Like America has recently done against China. The China was dumping the goods at damn cheap prices in American market, and their export to America was more than $1 trillion. $1 trillion is equivalent to almost $1,000 billion. Think, this is a huge sum. Now, if economy gets threatened by the cheap imports from a country, that country has a right to retaliate. And America did the same thing. The Trump was pretty harsh. He warned the China and then acted upon. China also retaliated. So both the countries suffered. But China is suffering more because their production lines got hampered, got crippled, and their trade got suffered with a great, you can say, abnormality. Their share with the US also came down just because America put in the hefty customs duties on Chinese imports, and that affected their market. I'm saying it just because I'm a taxation expert also. I'm not just a soft skill speaker or motivational speaker. I'm a taxation expert, and I have a very fair understanding of the foreign trade, which I teach also. And also I have a fair understanding of the taxation system, international policies, World Trade Organizations, customs, and international transactions, whatever is happening, and policy making also. And I know what exactly happens between the government and the Reserve Bank of India, and the stress which was going on recently, and how Urjit Patel resigned, and prior to that one Raghuram Rajan also went away. I had written a lot of articles also on that one, spoken on my YouTube channel also there. You can also get to those YouTube channels with the Dinesh K. Vohra, Vohra. You can write in search YouTube and you will get it, or maybe in Google also if you write, you will get those many videos about me, and all the linkages are there. So things will never be ideal. Conditions will never be ideal, either in the home conditions or in the foreign condition. There will be challenges. And these days, these challenges are going up in many ways, because the world is heading towards protectionism. Yes, protectionism I am talking. Every country now fiercely trying to protect its market. And they can then impose the anti-dumping duties on the countries, safeguard duties on the countries on their imports. And India is also doing. India is also imposing the safeguard duties and anti-dumping duty on Chinese goods. So Chinese trade with India, which is adversely balanced in favor of China, because we export hardly the goods worth $15 billion, whereas we import around $60 billion from China every year. So trade is around 75 to now $80 billion per year. But okay, your question is valid. In Indian context, the trade unions are there, but trade union menace has gone down in last many decades. What was the menace about 3 or 4 decades back in 70s and 80s? That every other day the factories used to be closed, there used to be strikes, there used to be union baji and everything. Now things are not that bad. There is a drastic improvement in the situation. Somehow here and there you'll find some, you can, sundry incidents, but these sundry incidents may not be even 1 or 2% comparing to what was in 70s, 80s. It has gone down now with the state of liberalization, but other kind of challenges have come up. Now the fierce market is there, and how to get your goods or services being sold into the market. There are, you can say, many barriers in India also. State to state barriers are there. Then the taxation systems, which are cumbersome and sometimes complicated, and they don't encourage the business also. So there are many challenges. There are challenges on the internal front inside the organization, where there might be attrition rate which is faster than the overall industry, or maybe the lesser salaries. Many issues are there. So to think that these challenges will go away one fine day and we'll be having a very ideal condition of the trade, or you can say transactions, it won't happen. You have to work under these non-ideal, stressful conditions. There is no way out, and people must learn how to compromise or how to live with these stresses. As we do on everyday basis, that stresses which comes from external field remains there, but we just simply cannot get away from that one, not possible. Then I was talking about the people who are busy. They actually allow everybody to come in and do the things, chit chat, speak. But the people who concentrate on their job, they shut the doors just because they want to concentrate. Shutting the door doesn't mean that the doors and windows get closed. People are allowed, but they see to it the quality people to come to them, quality mails or quality phone calls come to them, because they are concentrating on certain tasks. Then the people, those who are busy, they keep talking. I am very busy person, I am very busy, I am extremely busy. Are they busy? You ask them. If productivity is zero or next to zero, then they can't justify it. Whereas the winners or the people who are productive, they concentrate at one goal at one time, one objective at one time. And so-called busy people also multitaskers, and they ask for advice also. Whereas the people who are productive people, they basically they take the real action. They don't speak much, they act. And it's a fact in this world that people's acts are recognized. What you say is not acknowledged. I will share my experience in that count. As I have authored 18 books on management and soft skills. So, lot many friends of me and known people these days, I'm also writing a book, or I'll write a book and very shortly, and this will be released, and I'll do this one, it will be on this subject, it will be on that subject, it will be a huge book, it's a mega book, but they never come out with any book in the market. Whereas if I have to write a book, I will not speak that what I'm writing. When it will hit the market or stands, that time I'll inform that my book has been released in the market, you can buy it. So what's happening here, that my work will speak. If I am trying to say that I am among the leading motivational speakers of the country, who also do the keynote addresses on many issues, and then I keep on boasting on these things, will it work? It won't work. Because people have the power to see through people. People will one day realize that yes, this man is worth due to his oratorial skills or what he has delivered. So your delivery makes the impact, not your speakership. It means what I have delivered to the people over the years, in the last 25, 30 years, that is being recognized, that is being acknowledged. On that basis, the people regard me as a leading speaker, or they regard me or respect me for that. But I have not earned it overnight. I have not overstated my things. I have not gone overboard. I have done my job and I have come back. Let people realize that what I have done, what I have delivered to the people, either in the form of books or my speakership, or maybe as an astrologer and Vastu expert. So your work is going to speak. It just happened in December month with me that I had given predictions for 5 state elections, and wherein I had given a solid written prediction in Amar Ujala and their website, which is third leading newspaper in Hindi in North India. And in that paper I said that 3 Hindi heartland states of Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, BJP is going to lose and Congress will make the government. So people had great doubts about this one. But when the results were out and their governments were made, they started appreciating me and giving me congratulatory notes actually. It means the work speaks. I need not go to the market and then you can say shout there that I am so and so. My work, my speakership, my deeds should speak themselves. And they are far more important for me. So I need not cry, I need not shout. Let people watch, let people see, let them realize. And they know, people are intelligent enough to realize the worth of any person on the street. Then it means that people who are busy basically and people who are productive, there is a huge difference between the two. Because productive people believe in a delivery system. And delivery system means they had delivered and they are known through their delivery only, not through their talks or speakership. To-do list is also, which I actually explained yesterday only, I had covered. And if there are bigger projects, the time management says that you should break it down into small pieces. Maybe 3 parts or 4 parts and 5 parts. And then anticipate that how much time shall we devote to this part 1 or part 2 or part 3. And then see to it once you start a job whether you are reaching the real point of finish or not. So feedback is important. And this feedback brings you the satisfaction, the joy that yes, I had broken my big project into 2 pieces or 3 pieces. This piece, which was slated to be completed say by January end, has been completed. So it gives you confidence. So always, whenever you are dealing with bigger projects, have the time slots and have the small chunks which can be handled very easily. Pareto principle, we had already yesterday in a great deal we had explained that 20% of efforts you can get 80%. Today also we spoke a bit on this one. So it really helps us in identifying the problem. It also helps us in identifying our strengths and weaknesses also. So in a way, it's one of the most important feature of the management. The next principle of the time management is evergreen, how to avoid procrastination.